What's up, everybody? Welcome to an evening joyride. You will notice that this is not the Dyna. This is a 94 FXR. This is my dad's bike. I am down at my folks' place and headed over to one of my best friend's houses for his birthday party. Said, hey mom, hey dad, do you care if the baby girl stays with you and I borrow a bike and run over to a party? And they said, nope, here's the keys, have fun, we'll see you when you get home. So I ran out and jumped on this FXR. It's very Midwest classic, right down to, check out that fringe. The FXR, man, the FXR is the reason I fell in love with Harleys. My dad has always owned one or two. He picked this one up when I was in high school, completely fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. So obviously it's a 94. This is an Evo. Means that it's got its own, it's got a mind of its own. You know, it's got its own procedures, everything like that. But let it warm up a little and it'll run with my Dyna. Actually, when I was buying the Dyna, when I made the decision to buy the Dyna, I was damn near through building an FXR with my dad. Kind of a Frankenstein. It was a late model 93, 94 engine shoved in an 83 chassis, all the early model transmission and starter and all that, everything that really doesn't have the power to crank over late model Evo stuff, but it was gonna make it was gonna do fine. My whole point was, me and my buddy Steve, we were gonna ride to Fuel Cleveland from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm still getting used to where the controls are here. These low bars like this are not my risers and trackers. Alright, so like I said, I was in the process of finishing building that FXR. As a motor, we didn't really know anything about. It ran when we pulled it, when we bought it, so we didn't worry about it, opening it up, trusting it, any of that kind of thing, right? And we really got to a point where I was like, man, hey, this Dyna came up, which actually was my buddy's. He sold it to get a Heritage, traded it in at the dealership when I was working there. Traded in on a Heritage Softail, and I was like, you know, this Dyna came in, I know exactly what was given for it. I know markup numbers, so I know what I can get it for. What do you think? This over that FXR we're finishing. And talked it over, thought about it a lot, decided to pick up a Dyna. And it was weird. It was the first twin cam in our family, but it's fuel injected, obviously, so that was weird. We've never done anything like that. We're used to Evos being new and fucking with carburetors. Because my old man is a hell of a mechanic with a shovel header and iron head, and that's what I grew up on. So getting into twin cams was real weird, but it seemed to fit, it seemed to work all right. I mean, I was at the dealership anyway, so might as well have what was still old at the time I bought it, but ended up, obviously Harley discontinued the entire Dyna line and the twin cam, but ended up, you know, deciding, hey, let's pick that up. I think I just picked an Ant up. That was weird. Anyway, I headed out to my buddy Chris's birthday party. He, actually don't know how old he is. Pushing 30. He's damn near 30. He just recently moved out here into the hinterlands near my parents from the city, which is cool because he's way closer to our new place. And it means I get to borrow cool stuff like this to head out and see him. So he moved because he got an awesome opportunity to step into a management role from the dealership he was at in town. He stepped into a management role in Mount Pleasant, Michigan at Whole Shot Harley, and I am stoked for him. Him and his wife have just the most beautiful little girl. I'm probably not gonna film just because it doesn't feel, I'm just not comfortable. Like, I'm not comfortable putting my kid on camera. I'm not gonna put theirs on camera, you know what I mean? But have faith, we are going to knock back a beer or two, and we shall see where the night takes us. So my buddy Chris and his family moved out here basically, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles outside of my hometown where I grew up. And it's awesome being able to come home, visit my parents, and hop over and see some of our best friends. Right up here, we're gonna swing into a party store. If y'all aren't from Michigan, party store is a term that we use for what the rest of the world would call, I don't know, a convenience store or a quick stop or something like that. It can be a gas station, but it doesn't have to be because I don't have to sell gasoline. This one actually does not have gas pumps in it, but it does. This one actually is really cool. It's got an ice cream parlor in it, but it also sells beer and has like a cute little deli and that kind of shit. Most important factor for us today being they sell beer.
A few moments later.
I might be speeding like all hell right now. That's another thing that you'll find the longer you watch this channel. When I ride other people's motorcycles, you'll see that the speedo is visible, potentially. When I ride my own Dyna, you can't see my speedo, and guess what? Neither can I. I don't really care. I have a general feeling of how fast I'm going, and I ride with traffic, and I ride to my comfort level. And if I go a little quick, well, sorry. And if I go a little slow, well, sorry. Yeah, man, there's a reason everybody loves the FXR, and it's that right there. I mean, that was weak, honestly, as far as the curving goes. I don't know if you're out in California, you're gonna look at that like, what the hell are you doing, man? That's not a corner. That's not how you curve. But this is what we got. We got county line shifts up here. But just the ease and like, yeah, it's a 35 mile an hour curve, right? Sure it is. And it just eats it like it's on a rail, man. And that's the reason that no matter how much I love my Dyna, it's never going to be an FXR. No matter how much I put into it, it's just not going to do it. It's really the reason I love coming to my dad's and riding all these random bikes that he's got in his shop, in and out, and the, you know, whoever's bike we're like tweaking or changing handlebars. My dad's not a mechanic anymore, but, you know, once a mechanic, kind of always a mechanic. He's not stopping helping friends. And we're here.
One eternity later.
So, headed out from my buddy Chris's birthday party. He turned 29, to correct myself in the earlier part of this video. So yes, I do know how old one of my very close friends is. I'm not a complete idiot. Sometimes I am. But no, I'm headed out from Chris's place. It was a great party. Just fantastic time hanging out with Chris, his wife, the baby, and all in all, it was a really nice trip. Dad's FXR got quite a bit of attention at the party, being the only dude that rode, also being that I rode a 1994 Harley-Davidson. And I love all my friends, but they all ride twin cams. So seeing somebody roll up on an Evo, it's a little bit of a different view to the norm. I am finally starting to get used to the strange handlebar setup of the FXR. Still wouldn't call myself a fan of this particular setup. I'm not a big fan of it's not really a buckhorn, but it kind of is. And I don't love the hand positioning, especially compared to the Dyna. I don't think I'll ever love anything and positioning wise as much as the Dyna that isn't set up in a really similar way. To me, somewhere between 10 and 12 inches of rise is just the correct place to sit. But it was a really great trip with some great friends, and it also gives me a great opportunity to test out the night view on the GoPro. We're taking a pretty similar route home. I might get bored and switch it up. Like I said, this is basically my old stomping grounds. I grew up right in here, so nah, you know what? I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go a different route home than I came here. There's a fun route past some lakes over there that we're gonna take. As much as I love riding to get where you're going, because, you know, all riding is good, I love riding with no real goal in mind the most. Riding just to ride is my favorite way to ride. I'm also hoping that right now is a bit of a preview into the future of this channel of finding and riding new roads, at least new to the channel, enjoying them, and just riding, chatting, and riding different motorcycles and enjoying that, you know, being a part of the motorcycling community in general and offering my little bit of knowledge. One thing I don't miss from riding old Harleys is, look at this, low beam, high beam. That headlight sucks. Daymakers, even knockoff daymakers, make a world of difference. It's so important to upgrade your lighting, guys. I cannot stress this enough. Lighting is vital. Whoops. Accidentally high beamed, accidentally turned my turn signals on. I messed that all up. That was embarrassing. Not really, I don't really get that embarrassed on a motorcycle anymore. Man, I've stalled motorcycles in driveways on dates before because I forgot to turn the gas on because I was nervous. I did that at the starting line of a race one time. I forgot to turn the gas on and I died right in the starting line. At one point I had the key turned to accessory instead of ignition, and I was kicking the shit out of this big old motor trying to get it to start, and it just couldn't, no matter what. Put enough gas into it, couldn't get enough throttle to it, no matter what. Wouldn't even try to roll over. To the point that I had like two dudes, like grown dudes, trying to help me, and I was like 18 at the time. Finally looked down, realized the fucking key wasn't on, clicked it over to ignition, and just no throttle, first baby boot, and it just badooped right into place, running like a top, man, doing exactly what it was supposed to do. I'm past the point of being embarrassed by riding anymore. One time as a kid, I was hauling through here. I'll say kid, you know, 16, 17 years old. I was flying down these curves, not doing my due diligence, not looking ahead of me, not counter steering. And I got in a big curve, a big quote-unquote curve like that. And man, I ended up out in these people's yard. I drove right through their front yard, no joke. And they're on their porch and stuff, like they can totally see me. I was riding with my dad, he can see me. Just embarrassed the shit out of myself as a kid, you know? Got where we were going, I was like, man, that was so embarrassing. I can't believe I did that, da-da-da. My dad was like, well, you didn't crash. And I'm sure it's not the first person through these curves that has gone in their front yard, so next time, just slow it down, pay attention. And that meant a lot to me because I really was beating myself up about how bad I messed up and how embarrassing it was and da-da-da. But that was one of the turning points for me of like, you know, maybe if you're riding, you're having fun, you're doing better every time, making fewer mistakes this time than you made last time, maybe there's no sense in being embarrassed. Everybody's learning something, even if it's something you already know. Be a constant learner, even if what you're learning is not to do that again. Alright, y'all, I got a feeling that the GoPro isn't picking up much of this scenery anyway through here, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to say thank you so much for taking part of this joyride with me today. I appreciate your time, I appreciate your views. If you haven't already, do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button. It does a ton for my metrics and for YouTube to tell YouTube that you actually care about what's happening on this channel. If you really want to stay up to date, hit that bell next to the subscribe button. That'll get you notified every time I upload a new video. You could be the first to like, comment, view, etc., etc. And until the next time, ride safe.